Welcome to the Concert Queen Connect Season 2. And they're kicking off with the one and only Capyac. Welcome. This is...
Yeah, we should have gotten the fireworks.
Yeah, well, we didn't have it in the budget.
Yeah, no, we didn't.
But you have your...
Air horn? No, that wasn't in the budget either.
It's not? So, as you can see in these outfits, I feel very underdressed. But you guys, these are actually that's my way again.
Yeah.
Got
Got this in the
helmet
garage
that I've
over
never
there.
worn.
Yeah.
But it looks like you've taken some spills in that hat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
So you guys are here. How long has it been since you've been back to Austin? Because I feel like you guys were just kind of staying put, right, in LA for a little bit.
Yeah, last time in Austin was April.
Mm-hmm.
We were recording. We haven't even announced what this little secret project.
Oh, yeah, this is perfect spot.
Yeah, so this is kind of like top secret knowledge up until now. But we were I guess we teased it a little bit, but we basically did this whole album last year and then came back in April to record like live versions of almost half the album. And that is coming out at some point later.
Yeah. So that was the last time, and then we just flew in this morning.
Yeah.
I'm feeling great. So the live versus like your normally like studio produced, what would you say is the biggest difference between those two? Because I feel like that's kind of what you guys are known for is your live show. And people come and they're like, you're going to a Capyac show and you have a cult following, especially here in Austin, but I'm sure, all over.
Yeah, well, and there's always been this sort of disconnect between the what's on Spotify and what we do live. And these live sessions that we're putting out at some point are sort of going to try to bridge that gap and try to because a lot of people haven't been to those Austin shows and we want to have some evidence of that on the internet, basically.
Okay, so for someone who's never seen you before, how would you describe like your live experience?
Oh, it's just like a walk in the park.
Yeah, that simple, that predictable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just the sun's out, dogs are out,
birds are singing, dogs are singing.
Yeah, everyone's singing. It's actually a musical.
Yeah.
Well, we are playing music.
It's a flash dance.
We are playing musical.
Yeah.
We do let's see, highlight
a
reel.
squad of people.
Yeah, we do puppets, we do mimes, we do drums.
Oh yeah, seances.
We did a seance.
Lots of demonic ceremonies.
There was an
and stuff.
offering, I think, on Halloween.
On Halloween, yeah, we
got
opened the
Virgin
gates to
It got
offering.
dark there. Yeah, we were playing with fire
Yeah.
that show.
Yeah.
And
No, I did actually some serious demonology research. I
Yeah.
was reading all of these old, the actual medieval texts that they weren't medieval texts, but they were what they were writing during the late Romantic period when all the medieval sort of dark magic was coming back in style with what's his name? Aleister Crowley? Was that the guy? No,
no, he was 20th century.
Yeah, no, it was
Some
late
precursor or something.
Yeah. Oh, what was his name? Oh, Anton LaVey. He was an early Satanist, and he was big in I guess it was the beginning of Satanism, but it was just kind of also a revival of stuff that they were the witchcraft from medieval times. Anyway, I was doing a lot of research because I wanted to figure out how to actually open the gates to hell and bring back one of the demons. And
during your show.
Yeah, it didn't happen because they're very specific ceremonies. You have to do them on a certain day. You have to collect all these materials, and I was feeling a little lazy, so we didn't go all the way.
Yeah, and so.
But I say we got close.
I think we got close. I would say when you're on Spotify, most of that doesn't usually come through.
Yeah.
But
which is really unfortunate, and is
yeah.
kind of we're not really branding experts.
Well, I think it's also you're kind of beholden to Spotify's branding,
they
the
don't
green
let
and
you...
black. We can't really put flames or anything.
No, yeah, I've been emailing them every day.
Hey guys, come on, MySpace did it. What
MySpace
are we doing?
was so cool. You could do whatever you wanted, and Spotify is just everyone gets the same font. Everyone gets the same stupid font, Proxima Nova, for every band.
Yeah, we got opinions.
And it's yeah.
I think that the gap is really interesting between what's online and what happens live.
Yeah.
And like in my mind, like I think they're both kind of end up being their own thing. Like it's just like, even as we try to bring them closer, it's just, we've always kind of gone into the studio and did the whole thing on, largely on Ableton, and we kind of steer that ship. And then when we play live, there's a lot more improv that's going on, a lot more freedom. I think probably more pressure, or like less pressure to like do something with permanence. And so with that, we take a lot more risks. We have probably more fun. And yeah, so it's just kind of different worlds, and then there's plenty of people where they love the Spotify stuff, and then they come to the show and it's like, whoa, like,
yeah, they're not ready for all of it.
Like
what's two different experiences. So if you go, but I think that too is kind of a testament to what y'all do, because you have so many different artistic expressions of your music and of what you're doing. Like you can go in. I'm curious, because I know like we had Mobley and we talked to him, and Mobley like from the get-go is like thinking about how it's going to perform, what the music video is going to be like when he's writing. Is that something like, do you guys just kind of go in and just start kind of improv playing, or do you already kind of have like, hey, I'm going to build this out around, I don't know, raccoons and
No, usually, yeah, I don't know. I've worked with lots of people who think of music like visually from the beginning. Like they already see the music video or they see the show, but I don't really work that way. For me, it's like about the song and about that version of the song, and everything sort of in service to that. And I'm not thinking about the live show or anything, and we have to figure out how to play it later, basically, which has come with a lot of challenge.
Yeah, I was just going to go on that and say, sometimes I think we just play with the different forms of like how to write a song and like how to conceptualize a song. And sometimes it's like there's different functions that we want. Like,
well, they're completely different contexts. Like the same song, like lots of people listen to music on Spotify, while they're working or whatever. And that's not the same music that you want to listen to when you're at a show at like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And so we write to those different contexts. We're not going to play like the stuff that performs really well on Spotify is basically like music, it's like background music. People are playing it in their coffee shops and like yoga studios and whatever. Or people are driving around to it, which is like a little more energetic. But for the most part, like, we play party music at the show.
Yeah. We end up kind of cutting lots of stuff from our Spotify catalog in the live performance. Yeah. And almost rather do just like completely made up, like hard electronic.
Yeah, a lot
like
of improvisation.
Silly, weird stuff, because you start going into one of those like kind of perfectly clean studio songs, and it just doesn't quite sound as good as something that's just like really hitting you in the face, or like even like a dumb skit, that we're doing, like where you're holding people's attention in a different way than when you're doing an online release.
And we're trying to do the shows like almost more like DJ sets, where they're like if you're a DJ, you're not going to come to the club with like a playlist of songs and play them in that order no matter what. Like, at least that's not how I would do a DJ. Right. Yeah, because you have to respond to the crowd, and like you have to know what they want. You have to like see how they respond to the first song, and if that's working, and then you feel it out from there. And so we have that same kind of flexibility in our live show, so we can sort of like see how things are going.
Interesting. And so it's not have like a set list, and you're like, we're going this, and this.
We always try to do the set list.
Yeah.
And I almost without fail.
Kind of abandon it.
We get 1 or 2 songs in, or we don't even get to that first song. We're like, cool, we're going to go into this song, and it's in like C minor. So like, let's just kind of chill, like hang out in the C zone, and then like just see what happens. But then like he'll start playing something, and then I'll come in on with like a little melody, and then both of us are like, wait, this is really cool, we should just play this out. And before we know it, we're just totally nowhere,
somewhere else. And then and then we're like looking at the crowd, and we're like, okay, they're digging this, and then maybe we'll try bringing in some other song and then see how that goes. But it's all very flexible, and that's sort of been like the goal of the recent shows that we've been doing is trying to basically have the flexibility of a DJ, but the like excitement of a live band.
Yeah.
Which has been a challenge, honestly, just from a technical standpoint. Like you have to be ready to play a much wider catalog of music. You have to have like all of these songs on deck, not just like a set 45 minutes.
I'm like ready to go.
Yeah.
Especially if it's changing, like you said, sometimes every single performance.
And then we just get bored, honestly. It's just like we can't handle playing the same show twice in a row.
Yeah, a lot of our classics have gone through 10 plus versions, which is fun. That definitely harkens back to us playing like in jazz bands, and that's just like part of what you learn in a jazz band is like just okay, let's do this as a bossa nova, or like let's do it like in this different style. And so then now we kind of start doing that with our songs, or it's like cool, let's play this, but like we're gonna put a totally different beat, or we're gonna slow it down, or we're gonna do something different. And yeah, I think the live shows is really special.
Wow.
But at the same time, the studio work is also really rewarding. I mean, this whole album was mostly, it was all just studio stuff. Yeah.
Have you ever had a version of a song that you played like live and you're like, bring it back to the studio, and then we're like, we really dug that, like, let's go with that?
Yeah, we definitely like road test a lot. Like, I mean, this last album, I mean, I think half of the songs
are like multiple years old. We've played, in different iterations with like, sometimes it's just the two of us, and sometimes we bring in Olaf, or we bring in Leggy Bean or different people to come in, and we try different versions of it, and we're like, wait, this is really good. And then that's kind of, and then sometimes we're like, we're playing around with a song for so long. Like one of the songs off the new album, Take Me Closer, is a good example, where that song, I think we wrote it. I think it was 2016. Yeah, if not 2015.
It was like one of the early ones that we wrote around, like right in the aftermath of Speed Racer. Like when we had that song, it was like, okay, cool, let's write another one kind of in that world. And we just played it, and we used to play it in all these different ways and iterations, and with Olaf and I singing it, and then we were like, cool, we want to put this on the album. Like it's lasted, you know what I mean? It's like it's kind of lasted the test of time, so we know there's something there. But then we recorded a whole version, and it was just like, no, this isn't right, and so we just kind of shelved it, and then we just kept kind of coming back to it, and it really wasn't giving us anything. We kept coming back time and time again. And then finally, one day, we just like got lucky, or whatever happened in the studio, where it was just.
Well, we grabbed a chorus from another song.
Yeah.
That was also kind of like a live song that we'd been playing a lot, and we just grabbed the chorus from that song. I don't remember if that song even had verses, but I don't even remember what that song was called. But we grabbed the chorus from it, and then put it over Take Me Closer, got rid of the old chorus, which was actually pretty good. Yeah. But I've forgotten it now, unfortunately.
Well, and then you Frankenstein the whole thing. I think as time goes...
What does that verb mean? You Frankenstein? Like you pieced it all together?
Oh, yeah. We're just... So instead, like basically we have this song, we thought it was good, but it wasn't good enough. And we just kept kind of putting it in the like maybes file. And then finally, I think we just get frustrated. And we're like, all right, the only way this is going to happen is if we like start cutting stuff and just really getting good with the cut tool or whatever. And so then we grab one chorus from a different song, then we scrap the whole beat, and then we just completely rewrite the beat underneath it all. And then, all of a sudden we're like, well, we have this whole, if you listen to that song, there's like a whole outro section with Cicely Fully Love singing.
I loved that outro.
Yeah. And
I've listened to the outro like just on because it's so
good.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
I can't remember how that came together.
I think it was just like we wrote that little kind of chant moment into the like kind of ending chorus section, and it was like, wait, this needs something over the whole
like a
thing.
Different lead
and
vocalist.
then so it just made sense that Cece would be.
Yeah, it flowed. So yeah, we're talking about Capyac Forever, which is their latest album, but there is this one. It isn't like I had to go back and I'm like, wait, what is this that I'm listening? Because you're right too, and not that I was like making coffee. You just have it on and you can listen to it just straight through. But I remember listening, like when I first heard outro, I was like, whoa, what is this? No. And I went back and I listened to it again. No, listen, I'm that person, like you don't want people to follow me on, like don't follow me on Spotify because it's going to be embarrassing. How many times I like listened to a song and I'm like, if anyone saw this, that would be a little embarrassing. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to say how many times I listened to outro, but might be y'all's top fan for
great,
August.
Great. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's really, really fun. I'm curious. You mentioned a jazz band. Did you guys play in a jazz band together, or how did you guys initially meet?
I would say that we played jazz together at like a very rudimentary level.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Like, and someone was asking me about this last night, and I was like, I struggle to even say that I play jazz because it's a very demanding genre full of very accomplished players, and neither of us are anywhere near that level.
Oh yeah. No, we're like a starter book jazz, like Suzuki jazz for kids.
Yeah,
kind of jazz
we're
players.
jazz for kids players. I mean, and like we're practicing, we're trying to get better. You know, I'm working on my voicings and learning new chords all the time.
Mm-hmm. I'm learning how to be cool.
Yeah, which is part of the jazz curriculum. Yeah. But we basically played jazz together in high school and really didn't know what we were doing, but had a good time. And then a lot of our peers went on and like actually started doing jazz at what I would call a professional level. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I feel like I learned more from them than anyone. I mean, like later on, after playing with like with Marshall, aka Papa Mongoose, who plays sax in our band, who's a very talented player, and Jeff Olson, who's playing drums, Sam Penke, who's on the record playing bass, and then
also Sean, isn't Sean a
yeah, Sean, this guitarist who's playing guitar on Sanctuary. Yeah. Logan, who plays bass on
a lot of jazz players.
Yeah,
so
a lot of like really talented
I didn't
jazz
realize
players.
that and that makes sense because it has that kind of influence to it, but it's not literal, like you said, jazz.
Yeah, and they're all like amazing to play with, and I just like whenever they're in the studio, I'm just like watching them like a hawk, trying to soak up, what they're doing.
Well, that makes sense in how you guys were just like jamming out then, because that's what a lot of the jazz bands do. There's a lot of the jamming out and taking it from there.
Yeah, jazz was sort of like the original jam band movement, I would say. Like before the 60s, like jazz music, like they were basically jamming, since the 1910s. Yeah. Maybe earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, draw a lot of influence from there for sure. A lot of like the harmonies in the record are, jazz based or
you can hear
R&B
it
based or whatever.
You can definitely hear it. So are you guys playing every part of like the song? I'm fascinated now, like with your whole like song producing and how, because it's so, like you said, you start with one thing and then do you have this whole catalog that's like never been released?
Yeah.
It's
extensive.
Oh, you say?
Oh yeah.
Like a long catalog.
There's so much.
Is it something that you can recall and be like, oh hey, like you said, you're like, this from 2016 would go here.
Certain songs stick out, and there are songs. Basically, our workflow is like when we get kind of like even 15% done with an idea, we export it and put it in Dropbox, and there it will sit for like decades. But every once in a while, we'll like be listening back to those old songs, and there's still some bangers in there that are going to come out in the future that we just like haven't gotten around to finishing, or like they were really good but they weren't the right fit for the rest of the album. Like there were so many songs that we wrote for this album that we had to cut because they didn't really make sense in the context of it. Or actually there were a few that were like such good songs that like we already had enough singles for this album, and I was like, we can't like
save
just we just save them for the next one. And a lot of those were already playing live because they're so fun to play, and like they're finished songs, they're like ready to go, and we know they're good. And we can do this thing where we like play them at shows and see the audience response to know that they're good, like how a DJ would like play out an unfinished unreleased track to like get the crowd response, and then make sure it hits before they release it.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, that was kind of what happened with Ooh Ooh Ooh. Like we wrote that song.
I was wondering how you said it.
Yeah.
Ooh Ooh Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh Ooh Ooh. I can't say it. Ooh.
I know. My dad says like so weird.
Can you do
Everybody says it to me. He's like, oh, oh, yo.
Because it's spelled like O.
Yeah. Well, and I think we were trying to come up with like a different title for that song, and then
it was just
this never happened.
Just do this one. It honestly looks really good.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
So, and that was kind of what ended up.
It's memorable. I mean, I remembered.
Yeah. But that's how that song happened. It was basically we wrote it. I want to say it was 2018 at that Oxford house in LA. I remember we were messing around and just like came up with the like initial like, you know, verse and hook or whatever. And then we just started playing at parties, and it was like every time we just kind of quickly became like a regular, just because people were responding to it and whatever. And then after you do that enough, then you're like, oh, okay, people are like coming up to me like, oh, I love that song you played, like ooh, ooh, ooh. And then it's like, okay, well, that's enough to know that like people are, if they're asking for it and it's not even out, you know.
Yeah,
we have a lot of songs like that. There's another one called Brain Song that I've had a lot of people ask for, or this one called Blasting Off. That was like one time we were in the studio and we were like, we're bored, let's write a song in 30 minutes. And so we wrote this song called Blasting Off, and it's like kind of amazing.
That's really great.
And it's basically about, it's just like an absurdist like song, whatever. But yeah, so like a lot of them end up just kind of like floating in this ethereal space that is Delwyn's like Octotrack machine, and then
somewhere in Ableton or
and
on some hard drive somewhere.
Yeah, and he's kind of the mastermind behind just like when we're playing live, where we're going. That's kind of, I think, been mostly like every once in a while you'll lean over and be like, what do we play? And I'll throw a song in, but most of the time, just because the nature of him doing like percussion and drums is like, it's kind of hard to like be in the middle of a transition and then lean over and be like, hey, what do we do next? You know what I mean? So it's kind of just him doing, you know, being like, all right, I'm vibing on this, and we going that way. And then I just kind of try to do my thing to smooth out, you know, put the butter on the transition and stuff.
It would be cool if we had like hand symbols for each song, so that even if we were like across the stage from each other, you could do some sort of,
or I could have like a 15-year-old kid with those like,
with those flags,
for like the planes, or we both have those. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That would be cool.
Not that we're supporting, you know, like
15-year-old
like child labor. But you know,
you can legally work for 15.
Really, in Texas?
I think you can. Right? I thought you could.
Well, if you're listening out there, let us know.
Yeah,
and you have
we're looking for a child labor law lawyer.
Labor law lawyer. Yeah.
15 though, can't be 16. Has to be 15.
Yeah, they age out, you know, so quickly.
You gotta,
Turnover on that.
Turnover is tough. Yeah,
it's hard to find.
We need them
good
before they
people
can
these
drive. You know.
Oh, so, but wait, we haven't. I would like to know how you guys initially met, and like what your like first initial, like, were you in the music scene? Did you guys go to school together?
I honestly feel like we met through Ursula.
Was it through Ursula?
Yeah. At least that's how we like became friends.
Yeah. Just like in high school, it happened.
Oh, okay.
I think it was. I thought it was through Marshall.
Maybe it was through Marshall.
AKA Papa Mongoose, AKA Big Meat Miami.
Yeah.
Big Meat Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just trying out a new name.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, and we were in a band called the Midnight Gems,
with a J.
With a J, because it was Jeff Olson, Eric Peana, Marshall Lowry, and then
my middle name, Steven.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. That was our high school, you know, just take the first letter of all of our names and then put it into the
and for some reason added midnight. But something funny happened
a perfect reason. Because we were cool and purple.
And but the best after midnight.
But the best part about this band was that we were playing one gig and someone like misread the name, and we were billed as the Midnight Jews. And none of us are Jewish.
Yeah, a little cringy. Yeah,
but it wasn't our fault.
No, it wasn't our fault.
And I remember seeing it, and I was like, the Midnight Jews.
It's got a different. Imagine coming and seeing the bill and being like, "Oh, I'm really excited to see this."
Yeah, I mean, it'd be dope if it was like some sick like klezmer band or something. Like,
No, I mean, someone was disappointed that night.
Yeah, someone was.
So it started in that band, and then it was my senior year that I joined jazz band. And I was not very good. I had never played jazz before, so I had no idea what I was doing. For whatever reason, I just like didn't want to get a teacher. I think I was like stubborn like kid, you know what I mean? So I just like never even like learned. And I just smoked a lot of weed too in high school. So I just was like a shit student, like basically. And I came into this like rhythm section of this jazz band, and it was really cool. It was like you got the like, I don't know, 15 horn players or however many horn
Yeah, it
players.
was like a big band.
And
Oh,
then
wow.
and then there's like
15?
something like that.
Yeah, it was 5.
Maybe
it was
more
like
even.
5 trombones,
This is
5
a
trumpets,
cool
5
school
saxes.
y'all were going. Is this a
Yeah.
music school or was this like
No, this was high school. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. And then
public high school.
Delwyn was on keys. Was Jeff playing drums? I
Yeah,
think it was.
Jeff was playing drums one year, and then
Yeah.
I forget who else.
I think
I
Jeff
remember
was
John
doing drums.
Turman was playing guitar.
Yeah, John was on guitar, and that was kind of one of those things where I definitely was just like trying to keep up as best as I could.
Same.
But I just was like not really taking it seriously, and that, whatever. And then after high school, I mean, we were like friends, but like we weren't really friends. We were just like kind of in the zone together, and like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't call him if my like puppy died or something like that, which is my like friend.
Yeah, that's your
scale.
bar.
That's my
scale.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then after high school, I started this band called Vlad in the Village, which is like a
Vlad?
Vlad,
yeah.
VLAD?
yeah, and it was
short
like
for Vladimir.
yeah, it was like a punk, like Eastern European, like punk funk, like trash band kind of, and we were just playing a lot of the co-ops around town. And I think D and I had kept in touch. And so it was like, hey, you want to play keyboards on this? And so that was kind of, so we just kind of always played in bands that it just like kind of worked out. It was like, hey, come play this. And then he did this radio drama and he was like, hey, do the soundtrack. And I was like, cool. And so
So we did like a
You did a
folk thing.
radio drama.
Yeah, so I don't know why I felt the need to do this, but
I mean, it was God, obviously.
yeah,
Just
no, it was divine
It
inspiration.
was divine inspiration.
But I was like, okay, one summer I just like sat down and wrote a 10-episode radio drama about this kid who basically the idea behind the radio drama is that in puberty you like begin turning into a tree and your legs turn into roots that like can't move anymore. And so this kid grows up and like his parents are trees that are like in a forest, and he like talks to them like they're still sentient beings, but he is able to roam around. And then the whole idea is that like going through puberty is this like metaphor for like taking root in whatever place you manage to find. But so the whole radio drama was centered around him and then his friend who is a flying fish, and then another character who I can't remember what her deal was. But anyway, they go on this quest to defeat this like evil wizard. And then I think there was like some dinosaurs at the end. And it was sort of like very like Adventure Time style.
Yeah, each episode was kind of its own little quest.
Yeah, its own little adventure. Yeah. And there was this there were a couple different villains. There was like the dark wizard of dark chocolate, I think was one of them, who was like an evil wizard that like lived in a scary mountain, who like was made out of chocolate or something. I don't remember.
The cloud one, right?
Yeah, and then there was the Fog King.
I love that you know all of this.
Yeah.
Oh,
as well.
I loved it. I was so. I mean, just to interject, I mean, it was like, it sounds like it was just him, but it was him in the beginning, and then it became like 10 voice actors, and all of us using the KVRX studio.
Yeah, so I
like,
wrote it, but then our friend Lee Caffey was working at KVRX, or DJing there.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I can't remember. I guess he was DJing there because his voice is still on KVRX as like some of the like
Voiceovers.
sign offs or like the signals or whatever
He's got a
they
great
call.
voice.
Yeah, he has a great voice acting reel also. Yeah. But so we would like, I would write these parts and then we had like 10 voice actors do all of the things, and like then we would take it back to the studio and like do all the sound effects and write this soundtrack around it. And that was all like kind of more folky music and like blues and like country, kind of more in that vein.
Yeah.
And so that was really fun. That was a little tangent.
How could we hear? Do you still have these recorded?
Yeah. I'm not sure if they're still online, but the drama was called Call Me Before the Trees.
Call Me Before the Trees?
Comey. His name was
Comey.
Comey, the main character. Komi. And
I'm a fan. I'm like
You're a true like fanboy. For your radio drama.
I thought it was amazing. I just remember the one scene with the Fog King where it was like, it was this like theoretical cloud castle in the sky, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they like, I don't remember how they get up there, but like all of a sudden we're like up on this cloud walking in the like entrance to this castle, you know? And I just remember like listening back at that episode, and we put in the wind sound effects, and like it was like
it's all very vivid. Yeah.
you know, you close your eyes and because there's so many episodes, like by the episode 5 or whatever, the one the Fog King is, you're like, you know, all the characters, you know, all the voices, like, and so I don't know, it all became very like nostalgic for me of just like, these are all my friends, like, but we're doing this
Yeah.
funny little kind of acting thing, but it's actually like pretty good, like for like a bunch of kids who had no money and just did it for like summer or whatever.
I mean, I listen back to it and I cringe, and I like
Yeah.
I don't want to tell people to go listen to it, but you know.
I think it could use an overhaul. It could use like, you know, $500,000 from Netflix. Like, you know, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. This might be the beginning if you're listening. Anybody out there?
Yeah, any Netflix producers.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, it was really fun. And it was a cool way to like work on music in a different context that like didn't need to be a band or a show or anything.
Yeah.
It was just like we were making soundtrack music.
Yeah.
And then we released that soundtrack, which is still online
As an
under
album,
under the band name Great Myrtle.
Yeah. Yeah. Go listen to that.
Yeah, I think that's
that
online.
one we can listen to.
Yeah, that one's online.
Great Myrtle.
And that one doesn't make me cringe. Like all the songs are still pretty good.
Yeah.
We still
And-
play some of them.
In my mind, that's kind of where the birth of us writing kind of
The
dance,
collaboration,
electronic music,
yeah.
because we wrote a bunch of folk stuff, we wrote a bunch of random, you know, blues, whatever, for that. But then there was like a couple songs that we wrote, and one in particular that was like a dance, you know, kind of had like dance beat or whatever, and we wrote some stuff to that, and I remember being like, this is really cool. But then, you know, existential crisis hits. I go off and I'm like, I quit Vlad in the Village. I'm like, this band sucks.
Yeah.
Like, it's done. It's over. And so I go to the University of North Texas for a year, and I think you're still at UT at this time, like 2013 or something like that.
I graduated 2013.
And that was probably right around when you started the Capyac, I imagine.
Well, yeah. So the beginning of that was while you were still at UNT. I went out to North Carolina and stayed at this farm called Snaggy Mountain, and which we've been back there like 3 or 4 times since. And it's just this beautiful like 50-60 acre farm in North Carolina that is close to Asheville. It's like an hour outside of Asheville, and we just spent like, I think I spent like 2 months there. Brought all my gear and like was writing some music to be like a first kind of attempt at the Capyac thing. But the music was completely different. It was like slower, more like ambient stuff. I was really inspired by Baths at the time.
Baths?
Yeah, Baths, who was like huge on SoundCloud.
Oh,
Had just put out this album called Cerulean that I was like obsessed with listening to like over and over again every day. And now Baths isn't so active, but he put out like 2 albums that were pretty well received and then like kind of disappeared. I haven't really heard of him since, but he's probably around doing something. But the music was very inspired by that. It was like slower, like very organic textures, like ambient kind of beat music, and all instrumental. And then I put that out under the name Capyac. It's still like on our Bandcamp.
The album.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should listen to it if you find it. It's like it's on Bandcamp. It's the first one. What's it called?
Oh, it's called One More Day in the Woods.
Yeah.
Also, like I was still in this like, I was still in like this organic sort of, you know, wooded forest realm in my mind, I guess. So it was very forest inspired, and there's a lot of like organic textures, like wood crackling and stuff like that. And then, yeah, for some reason after that, I guess Daft Punk put out their last album, Random Access Memories, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll do something like this instead. And then
Get out of the woods.
Yeah, got out of the woods, left North Carolina, came back to the city, and I was like, no one's gonna listen to this shit. And then just sort of like quickly got over it, because I was in this like moody, sentimental world, and I was like, no, this isn't gonna play well at parties. And then like completely switched to doing what later came to be called online PBR&B, which was this like subgenre of like SoundCloud music that was like hipster, like R&B made by white people.
Oh.
And they called it PBR&B because it was like associated with like white hipsters. like PBR, like the beer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was thinking PB&J.
I was thinking, I don't know, Pacific
Yeah.
Beach.
No,
I don't know.
all-
It was a weird.
PB. I was like, PB boy.
It was a weird little world, like kind of adjacent to like Blog House and like all of that music that people were listening to on SoundCloud in like 2011 through 2015, and in the middle of that, like Daft Punk had put their album out, and that was like very influential in like the sound that I was trying to go after. And then around that same time, I guess you would come back for a summer, and then we were like writing together again. And that combination of like being back together, we wrote like a bunch of songs that summer, and that's sort of where like the sound actually began to take hold. And then we started playing house parties, and that informed it. But that's sort of when it coalesced around this like house music and like, I don't know, funk world, I guess.
Yeah, I think the earliest song we have since taken down, which was that we wrote together, was this like, I don't know what it was kind of a song it was, but we had a Carl Jung sample. It was kind of like experimental, like,
Yeah.
But then the next one I think was a song called Cloud, which was, I think it was the second song we ever wrote.
Yeah, it was kind of like dancey and upbeat.
Yeah, and then that one I remember putting out and being like, oh wow, we got like 6,000 people listen to it. Like,
Yeah.
that's like so great, you know. And I think we definitely were encouraged by like just those little bumps of like, we had never really I mean, I had never released anything with any success, you know. And then to see a little bit of that, it was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, I mean, we were emailing people nonstop with every release. Like at the time, there was this feature on SoundCloud where you could like add your song to groups, and I think you can still do that, but people don't really listen to it anymore. And it was kind of like Spotify playlists, and I would just like add. You could just basically submit your song to like all of these different groups, and so anytime we would release a song, I would add it to like 400 groups and like try to get it played on like all of these, you know, curators playlists everywhere. And it was a very kind of like level playing field compared to like what you have to do to get playlisted now. But yeah, it was a cool time to be putting music on the internet, because it felt like you could just like blogs were really big then. Hype Machine was really big then.
I was going to mention, I loved Hype Machine.
Yeah.
That's where I found like all my new music.
Yeah. And so we were like emailing all these blogs and YouTube channels, and like that was like a really easy way to get music out there, and like people were actually checking up on these blogs. Like Dancing Astronaut and stuff like that was like huge. Now they've sort of like faded into obscurity or have been merged into like the Spotify ecosystem, which is just like kind of this like these tall walls that you have to like throw your music over.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you think it differs from then? Because it sounds like you said, you were submitting them out, and I feel like a lot of people forget that. They just see you now and they see, you know, the success that you have, and they forget like, no, we were sending it out to 400 people, and we were doing like, what other kinds of things can you remember? Because I'm sure you guys got creative when you were promoting your music.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the only thing I remember is literally like spending days writing emails. Like we would release a song and we had this spreadsheet of like email addresses. And we would just like spend 2 days emailing hundreds of people the song with the SoundCloud link and like everything.
I was in charge of YouTube.
Yeah.
I like, for whatever reason, was like, cool, I'm gonna do YouTube. And so I would send these emails to like, you know, like Funky Panda and like whatever playlists I could find. And at that time they weren't as big, and like I guess they were still answering their like submission page. So I would just submit, and I would submit like once a week. I just resubmit it and resubmit it. And then we got lucky where a couple people like be like, oh cool, like send us your track, we'll post it.
Yeah.
And so that started getting, you know, because it was like a couple 100,000 followers on their page. And so that was like, oh sweet. So every time we release a song, we started having this little cycle that we would do where it was like, cool, we put the song out. Now we're going to send the emails to the blogs. We're going to send them to the YouTube like playlist channels. We're going to do, what is it? Submit Hub.
Yeah. The SoundCloud groups and stuff.
Yeah. We had like little strategies, and then, and then we kind of would do that. And then I think after about a year or two, everything switched. Like when we put Speed Racer out, SoundCloud was like the big thing.
No one was really doing Spotify.
Yeah, and
or
so
people were, but like indie music wasn't on Spotify.
Yeah.
And then within like a year or two, everything kind of shifted over to Spotify world, and then the YouTube channels that we were on, they got a little too big to where they would just not respond anymore, and things got a lot harder, I think, for us to like get through those walls.
I think the YouTube thing just like stopped being as rewarding. Like people stopped looking for music there. I don't know. People still do it. These promo channels, like the one we got on recently was The Sound You Need, I think, which has like a YouTube channel that has like a pretty big following.
I think people
And-
still discover a lot of music on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Sound You Need is, like I've been watching that and listening to those for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. So there are some, like, there's still all of those curators still happening on YouTube, but for whatever reason, like SoundCloud stopped kind of being like a main source of things. And then Spotify, like, you can submit to these playlists, but it's
definitely
a lot
gatekeeped.
harder. Yeah. And I don't know why, but like a lot of these playlist curators, not Spotify, but the like individuals curating playlists that probably also have YouTube channels, for whatever reason, we just haven't like seen as much success. Like all of it is like kind of gate kept through Submit Hub and these other like portals where like you pay to submit to them, and then they like maybe listen to it or maybe not, but they like are earning a little bit of money, like $5 per submission.
Wow.
So there's just like less incentive. I don't know.
I think they just realized that there's a whole world to capitalize on.
Yeah.
And so they just, every step of the way now, people are asking for money. And if
Yeah.
you're not paying, I can't really imagine how you're breaking through. But
Yeah, because some of the same YouTube channels that we used to just like basically be friends with, online friends with, were now like, oh yeah, like we'll add you to our channel for $20. And I'm like, you're earning money on our music. Like you're monetizing this music already.
That was a clear moment when we were doing all these submissions, and then all of a sudden all the responses we'd get back were asking for money. And it was like, okay, things are changing.
Things are changing. Yeah, it's a different scene.
So
the like good old Bloghouse days are gone.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, now it's all happening on Spotify. It feels very corporate, which is unfortunate, but it's just like what you got to do.
But we've done a lot of random shit to try to get the like word out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can remember
more so for the shows.
I mean, mostly for the shows, because that's kind of what we realized. It was like, well, we're not going to sit idly and just like, we can't afford to pay for a lot of this stuff, but we still want to be a band. We still want to play shows, and so we were like, let's just like have a like 2-tiered approach where it's like we got the online world and we have the live show world.
Mm-hmm.
And the online world is kind of sketchy and like kind of capitalist, and just like you play the game, you buy the PR, you do this stuff, you get bad results, you kind of sulk, and then you try again when you get a little more money. Like that's pretty much what our last 5 years has been. Online stuff. But then with the live shows, it's so much more rewarding because so much of it is still like old school word of mouth. So you're just like, let's get a dope venue, let's get a good idea, let's get a bill together, and let's spread the word, and let's get 300 people in a room, and then like we'll do our thing, and we know it's gonna be great. And then that means the next time we come back, maybe we get 400 or 500 people.
Mm-hmm.
And so the strategy is kind of just like, in lieu of any sort of record deal or like significant money online, let's try to go and just play shows in different cities around the country and around the world even, and just kind of hit the same spots that seem to be giving us results, and just try to like let this be like what we can kind of control in a little ways, as far as like growing the band and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
that's to say, a lot of that stuff is, like you said, it's out of your control.
Mm-hmm.
Like whether or not they'll post it, or if they, you know, like you said, and then their audience. So with the live performance too, was that something, because people dress up, like it is an event. It's not like, if you've never been to a Capyac show, like you plan for it. People are like, what am I wearing? Like the second you guys announce, like people are like planning outfits together and doing all kinds of stuff. So
I mean, I think we've always wanted to make it feel like more than
it's definitely
just
not
a
just
concert,
a show. So
yeah.
well done on that, because it definitely feels like, that's why everyone gets so excited, because it is. You go to another, like normal shows and you leave, but like with y'all, it's like, okay, what's happening? Like, you get to go
we
there,
try to make a big event about
very
it.
like-minded people too. So I think I always recommend like I've known when I would like post your shows, people would be like, oh my God, I met like my friend group there, or I met my boyfriend there, my girlfriend like at your show. So
yeah,
I bringing all the lovers together.
Yeah, I think one time some people that had met at one of our shows like asked us years later to like propose like at another show. It was like 3 years separate.
Yeah, definitely the lovers are coming together.
So it's
for
happening.
sure.
I have several. I like know 2 specific friend groups that like met, or 2 like sets.
Yeah.
Boyfriend and girlfriend that met.
Yeah, that's
at
beautiful.
your show.
Yeah, I think I don't know where the impetus from that came. I guess it was just like a lot of it came from just like being in the Austin scene in like 2015 and just kind of being bored with everything that was going on. And like Austin's always had really great music, and like, you know, we had some friends and some pretty incredible bands that like still haven't gotten the recognition they deserve. Like
Yeah, I was just saying who were some
Food Group.
Food Group,
needs
yeah,
to
so
blow
great.
up.
I mean,
Shout out
Batty
Food
Jr.
Group.
has
Batty
always been
Jr., yeah.
like, that's one of those bands where I'm like, something.
Yeah, literally one of two of the best bands like I've ever heard in
Yeah,
my life,
I
and
really-
they're just
yeah.
like, yeah,
the foodie
where they
group
at?
or the food,
Food Group.
Food Group's
Food
great.
group?
Food Group.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
another one that you would say?
Batty Jr. Yeah, who the members in these bands have also like we've played with in various configurations. But yeah, they're just geniuses. But anyway, it was like a really like fertile musical world, and still is. Like the music coming out of the city has always been inspiring, but for whatever reason, like the shows, like the whole event and everything just felt like a little lackluster, and people are either going to see like boring DJs. Like dubstep was really big back then, and like I wasn't into that. And like EDM was like kind of a thing here, but it was more like happening in like big raves like in Dallas or something. And I think we just wanted to bring like the dance floor energy of like DJ music and like the entertainment of watching a live band together. And I mean, it seems like a pretty obvious thing now, but I don't know, like maybe this is just me being ignorant, but like in 2015 in Austin, it didn't feel like there were that many people like doing that. Like there wasn't like a dance band around that you could just like reliably know you were going to have a good time at a show.
Well, not at like a small scale.
Yeah, not at a small scale.
Like not that. I think that's
Well,
specifically like.
Yeah, that makes sense. 'Cause
Not that
I
you could pay,
agree
like-
with you. I mean, I've been to a lot of shows,
Yeah.
and I don't know anyone that kind of does it like you said, that hat on like not even a small scale like you said, but not like the Tame Impalas or the Justice
or like
or
Ghostland or whatever.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with you guys, it really is. Like I said, you have all these people, and you have, I mean, your stage is full of people the whole time.
It started, I mean, I remember we started doing the house shows in 2014, like the fall. And then I remember meeting, I think it was Maggie or one of the people at Cheer Up Charlie's. And I remember telling him like, okay, we'll play any show you want. And like usually when you're booking bands, always the hardest part about booking the band is the 8 to 9 p.m. slot or the like 1 to 2 a.m. slot.
Yeah.
And we were like, just give us the 1 to 2 a.m. slot.
Yeah.
Because like no matter what, we don't want that.
We played a lot of late nights.
We would play shows and get paid nothing.
Yeah.
Because we were just like, just give it to us for free. Like we don't really care. And we would just play these 1 to 2 slots. And that I think started slowly, like we'd invite our friends, and it slowly became a thing where it's like, oh, cool. Like there'd be all these indie bands play, and then all of a sudden it was like dance music, and then but
after like 4 hours of sad boy rock music, which,
yeah,
you know, like has its
place, but you know,
at the end of the night you're like drunk and like you want something.
And I think also at that time specifically, we had just gotten out of the Vlad in the Village, the punk band, and so
which was also kind of filling the same role. Like it was like a crazy party band with like dance music.
So it's like skewed punk, but it was essentially a similar energy.
Yeah,
and I think that was what I always thought was interesting. And I think at some point we've lost, and then sometimes we bring back, which is this like kind of chaotic, like punk energy that we try to bring. And that I think that's why the improv is such a strong part. Is it's like the improv gives you that like wild card element. The skits, the props, the costumery, it gives you the kind of that like roll the dice that you just kind of don't know what you're going to expect.
Which like it's the same ethos as punk music, even if you're not expressing it through the medium of punk music. And
it seems to be something that's somewhat rare in this genre, because a lot of people who are doing like funky, new disco, house, like pop stuff, it's like clean and cool and like poolside.
Yeah,
it's
all very like refined.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like these people.
And honestly, lots of it sounds like elevator music to me. It's just like there's no soul in it. Not to say that there, you know, is, well, yeah, you know, it's like
I agree with
a lot
you.
of it can be like really bland. And that's probably true for most genres, that like 90% of it is just kind of like whatever. And then there's like that few standout things.
Right.
But since the beginning, we were always just like, we don't know if this is going to be any good, but we're just going to like do something different and hope that it lands.
Yeah.
And sometimes it hasn't landed, like our critical failure 2017 release Fist, which is still like one of my favorite things we've ever released. But
Fist.
Yeah,
Fist.
just FIS.
Yeah.
Oh,
FIS.
Fist.
Fist, yeah. Which is like a 4-track EP that we put out.
You can find it online.
Yeah, it's great. But it's just definitely.
But it didn't land the way you thought it would.
No, it landed the way we thought it would.
We knew it wasn't going to be good. We were kind of. Oh, there it is.
Fist,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it starts out with a 9-minute long track.
It just
The
title
shortest,
No.
yeah.
That's we knew what was gonna happen. We knew what was happening from the beginning.
No.
Yeah. But
Followed by Bubblegum with one of our favorites, Katie Kinetic.
Kinetic.
Love
Yeah.
Classic.
Katie.
Yeah. That was such a fun music video, and like that was one of those songs that kind of came together pretty quickly, and then all of us wanted to do a video for it, and so it came together. Ursula directed that one, and it was so much fun.
All of this we like
Comfort Zone. We did that when we were in Berlin.
All of these we kind of did in Berlin. At least the beginnings of them. We did Bubblegum.
Studio Doucheland.
Coming
Helmet
back, but
Studio, Mongoose Den.
Yeah, but we were in Berlin for like 6 weeks and just kind of like, going to clubs out there, and we're very inspired by the techno and all of that.
Yeah.
Love it.
And so that's how we, made all of that. But we didn't really know what we were doing. It was like we were dipping our toes into this techno scene without understanding what the techno scene was about. And now that I've gotten like more of an ear for that, like it doesn't even sound like good techno, even though that's like what we were trying to do. And so it like landed in the space where like it wasn't great techno and it wasn't, serving the audience that we had built up. And so it just sort of like disappeared. But it's really weird, wonderful music. And I keep thinking that we should like remix some of that stuff, like bring back Bubblegum and like put a new beat under it or something. But
it's endless.
Yeah.
But that's amazing though that you guys, because we've talked about that sometimes where people come here and they're like, this is my sound, this is the only thing that I play, and they like don't really, like you said, they get some validation from there and they just continue to build on that audience. They don't kind of push the envelope at all.
I mean, it's a career risk to do so. Like lots of artists have like completely like fallen off because they write an album that's different and people don't understand it. Like Daft Punk did that with their album Human After All, which came out I think in 2004 and it was like the harder rock sound. It was like with the robot rock and all of that, and it like didn't do that well because they had built this like audience of like kind of disco-y vaguely, and then they put this out and they didn't market it well or whatever, and then they did this like art film with some French director where they're like blowing themselves up in the desert, and they sort of like moving off
that's
on
how
a little thing.
That's how they announced their exit.
It was a clip from that film Electroma that they
didn't
did.
know that.
Yeah, it was like it's a crazy movie. It's like
Did you know that, Steve?
it's like a narrative. It's like a full-length narrative film that they did. That's just like about two robots. None of their music's in it. It's all like classic rock is the soundtrack, and it's like a totally bizarre kind of like art film called Electroma.
I never knew that.
Worth a watch.
Yeah, because you watched that like that was their big exit, was just blowing up. You're like, okay, so this is how this ends.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. I thought the funniest thing about the Daft Punk retirement was that they had done it like 8 years after having done anything, and it's like they had done like a Weekend collab and whatever. Right. The Kanye West thing.
I wonder if they like wrote a whole other album and then
were
like
not good.
Yeah, they're like,
if they were working,
let's stop. Like we can't beat the last one.
Because I'm like,
I feel like they were doing something. Like
they were doing something. Yeah.
There's something sitting.
And then they just called it. Yeah. So weird.
But I'm like, I feel like I know. Like we know how this story goes. Like something's
They'll
happening.
come back.
Like it's coming back. Someone's gonna like. Unfortunately, like something's gonna happen. They're gonna need money, and then it's like, let's write an album, and then it probably will be pretty good.
Like Jay-Z,
yeah, maybe so.
Retire and then come back. Come back.
Yeah,
come back.
We should retire. Should we announce our retirement right now?
Like right now.
Yeah, right now.
I mean, we have to work on Friday and Saturday though.
You can come out of retirement.
We can come out of retirement. Yeah,
we can like just in time.
Should we make it? When's this coming out?
Wednesday.
Oh, so we'd only be retired for 2 days.
That's pretty badass, right?
Might be the first ever to do it.
I think,
Sure.
What's the date on Wednesday? Do we know? It's the 18th.
Wednesday is the 18th.
Okay, Wednesday. Attention, all listeners in the world out there. We are hereby, and I need you to say this.
Oh
with
yes,
me.
yeah.
We are hereby announcing our retirement. Effective
Effective immediately.
Effective immediately. Which today is
Wednesday,
the
the
18th.
2021. Yeah.
There we go.
And
Sorry. We couldn't do it. We couldn't last.
Yeah.
The man.
The grisly boot of capitalism kept us down.
Yep. Marks on our face.
The only issue with this idea I see is that like we have to rehearse both Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll have to come out of retirement briefly for those 2 rehearsals.
That's fine.
But then the rest of the week we're retired.
Or just come back. Your fans will. You have to. It's like the standing ovation. You know, like
Yeah.
you have to announce it. Like it's
Yeah.
ending.
It's
and
ending.
then-
Yeah.
No.
But did you ever see when we tried to sell the band on eBay?
What?
Yeah, that was a publicity stunt.
Tried
Yeah.
to sell the
Yeah.
band.
Yeah,
It
just
was
in a
Samos's
particular
idea.
low moment, you know.
Yeah.
You know how it's this
So
life.
do you all like feed off? Like if one person's like kind of in a dark hole, is the other person like? Could you go to that dark hole with them?
If
Or
one
do you-
person's in
or
a
are
dark
you like,
hole,
no, I'm gonna lift you up, or you're like,
No,
let's
we
do
kind
it,
of like
let's go
ignore
there.
each other. Honestly.
if one person's in the dark hole, then the other person puts the band up on eBay.
Yeah.
I'm
see
sick of
how
this shit.
Yeah.
Put it on. Where can I sell this?
We had the idea.
eBay.
We had the idea recently. Like I was thinking about how lots of companies have like an exit strategy where they like build up this whole
Yeah.
customer base. They have like their marketing channels and their acquisition channels and their, you know, vertical integration and whatever. And then the whole point of doing all of this is to sell what they've built to like a bigger company for like, you know, $1 billion. And I was like, well, we're a small business.
Yeah, promising.
And so I was thinking like, why hasn't another artist followed this exit strategy?
Some of them have, but those are the ones that usually wear masks.
I guess so.
Oh, sold up.
There's like 3 people that. Are
Whoa.
I don't know
Okay.
who's supposed to
So people
announce
are
that,
doing
but
it. Damn it.
Whoopsies.
Whoa.
I have
Okay.
to cut
I
that,
mean, so
sorry.
it's kind of like
Okay, sorry. Well, there's people I know. There's other DJs. I won't name names. Steve's
Yeah.
always gets mad at me when I say names. There's DJs that I know that wear masks.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
I'm not going to describe.
Yeah,
but
no.
there's multiple of them.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Yeah, and we
tour
know
around.
who
this
they are.
was kind of what I was thinking, or kind of like how like the Duke Ellington Jazz Band is still playing, but he's not there.
No, he's there, baby.
I mean, in spirit. And
Yeah.
so we do that. It's like, so basically what I'm saying is our exit
Your brand will
plan-
still live on.
Yeah.
Your band will still live on.
Yeah. So
We're-
we take the band, we sell it to some like billionaire who is like, oh yeah, this is like, you know, generating revenue at a predictable amount. I'll put in this much to buy it. And then we bail, we cash out of our
Cash out,
shares.
Yeah, we're trying to cash out.
Everybody else in the band who, you know, has equity in it, you know, they cash out. We all become millionaires.
Yeah.
Without having to work anymore, and then they just replace us with like some younger.
So what would you do
hotter
if you
people.
were
No,
like if
younger,
this
hotter.
scenario happened? Let's say go through billionaires like, hey, here's 100 million to you both each. What would you do with 100 million each?
But we couldn't be in the band anymore.
No, band's
Yeah.
done.
Or we couldn't play music anymore.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay.
No, that wouldn't happen. I think what because what's happening is they're buying the
Well,
band.
if we sign like a non-compete agreement, then I guess we
yeah.
couldn't.
Well, we could
Which
have,
is typical with
we
these
could-
kinds of
They
deals.
would.
you
They'd
know?
be
Well,
like,
we
if I'm
could
going to
be
give you
in-
100 million, you are not picking up an instrument ever again
Yeah.
because you're going to take what you've
Yeah.
built. So
Yeah.
yeah, what would you do?
Honestly,
Just fucking chill.
yeah, I
man.
feel like just chill. Like, yeah, I feel like I'm buying.
Go
a
right
boat.
back to square one.
I'm buying a boat. You know,
Yeah, $100 million is a lot of money.
I definitely
you know?
give like most of it away, and then like buy a boat and some land, and maybe try to start like an art commune.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds pretty cool.
No, it wouldn't be that hard to make life easy and fun. So
Or you could start making music out of like screwdrivers or like, you know, like
Yeah.
Stomp from like the play or the
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
right? You could be able that's not an
Or
instrument.
yeah, we could do something where it's like we try to go back into music, but we're too old and like not good at it, and it's cringy. But that's like part of the act, kind of
Yeah.
like how
Right.
It's
like Jeff
nostalgia
Goldblum
rock.
is doing that jazz album.
The who?
Jeff Goldblum is doing that jazz
Is
album,
he?
which I haven't listened to. Maybe it's good. I don't know.
Is he really?
Yeah. One of my friends did the photo shoot for it, and he's like on a platform in a swimming pool. She met Jeff Goldblum. I'm so jealous.
In a Speedo?
No, I think he's in a suit,
Oh.
but it's like in the middle of a
Speedo
swimming
under
pool,
the suit.
and they had to get this grand piano on the top of a swimming pool. Like they had to cross like a chasm of water and put it on another platform in the middle of the pool. Anyway,
it's coming out.
It might already be out, actually. I don't know. I like heard about that a year ago and then like forgot about
There's
it.
certain people that can just like put their name on anything.
Yeah.
And people are gonna do it. He's
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum. I'm trying to think of somebody else.
Bill Murray.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
Bill Murray.
Yes.
I feel like
He is
Bill-
like
Bill
the
Murray could come.
quintessential.
He could release like a Christmas album that's just like him drunk. Like
Yeah, it'd be genius.
it would be, and everybody would, it would go viral.
Yeah, absolutely.
John C. Reilly has a band, like a folk band, actually really good.
Dang.
Saw him
Okay, I'm
at
gonna check
Folk
that
Fest
out.
a few
Yeah.
years ago, so
Really?
I got to see him and meet
That's
him.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He takes it really seriously though. It's not like a joke or
Yeah.
It's like
he's-
Macaulay Culkin had his band. And he took that really seriously. He
Mhm.
still has it. Takes that very seriously.
Was it good? Or is
It's
it
like
good?
something, the flying pizza or something.
So what do you think is better? Do you think like actors going into music usually ends up better than musicians going into acting?
Ooh.
Because like there's some pretty great music acting
Well, what about
crossovers.
Cher?
Like Cher is
Oof.
great.
Yeah.
Actress?
Great actress.
Is she?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
but just because she's beloved.
Yeah,
That's how
but
Dolly
like
Parton is. I would watch anything Dolly
Yeah,
Parton's
like
a
if
part
Dolly,
of.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. I feel like there's just certain people where you just like you did it.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, yeah, you.
But the thing is, I feel like the charisma from like music performance would transfer into acting. But I don't know if the acting always translates into musical skill. That's
Yeah.
like a little,
Yeah.
you know.
I'm not knowledgeable enough to know
Yeah.
like the best like
I'm trying to
actor
think.
turned musician.
I guess Drake, you know.
Oh yeah. But what did he
Marky
act in?
Mark.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Drake was the.
Drake was in Degrassi,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's the
kid in
Disney thing.
wheelchair. No, this is like way. I mean,
I don't know.
you've never seen that?
No. I just don't because
Like,
see,
that's-
I would think it's like the reverse because I
Yeah.
feel like as artists too, like we've met artists that come here and they're super shy. They all say they're shy, which is such a like to me that's such an oxymoron because I look at you as a performer. I'm like, that to me
Yeah,
is
you're
super-
out there.
What?
So this, like, I knew.
He's in a wheel. Is this true?
Y'all
Yeah.
never seen this?
Like,
I don't know this. I only know Drake as like I thought he.
yeah.
They're like, oh, he
so
was.
like, I watched Degrassi.
He's in a wheelchair.
But
Is this
like, yeah, it was a real show. I don't know how many seasons it had, but
It was a
You
big
can watch
show.
it now
It was a
for
big
free on
show.
Tubi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was a really big show.
Oh, Jersey
Really?
Drake.
2001.
What?
Oh, this background is what we need for our website.
Wow.
We should totally do this for our website with all the band
Yeah,
members.
absolutely.
I wish I wish I had more.
Maybe we can hire the person who designed
I
the
didn't know
Drake
this
or
was
the
like.
Yeah.
The
he-
Degrassi.
the Degrassi
Like what
fandom.
is
with-
this
Like-
Degrassi fandom?
Like that's.
Wow.
Oh,
wow.
See, that's what our album like.
so unassuming.
Oh,
Wow.
what a sweet.
He looks
Yeah.
so wholesome.
I know.
He even has like the. Wow.
So yeah, he wasn't like a main. I mean, he was obviously one of the main characters, but it's not like he was the star or
Wow.
anything either.
Yeah, he was just on the show.
Yeah.
And then somehow he, you know, became the
Yeah. I
Is
don't-
he from LA or no? He's Canadian.
He's Toronto, I think.
Yeah.
or-
yeah.
Amen.
I imagine there's certain cities that are like just kind of focal points for
he just
for
needed to get.
arts.
That was an obvious like I'm just trying to get a foot in the door
Yeah.
kind of role.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Like what? Do you need me to play this kid in a wheelchair? Yes, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he talks about it in some of his songs. too.
Does he?
Yeah,
Degrassi?
yeah. How like his aunt or whoever would drive him to like the set to do the shows, and then there's one lyric where he's like gonna stop acting and start making money with music, and
What?
Oh,
people
yeah.
not like believing him in him
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's like a Steve Urkel
Super interesting.
kind of Family Matters.
The other one
thing.
that comes to mind is Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
Who had a very successful crossover.
Yeah, yeah.
But that was almost like baked in.
It
Yeah.
was baked in. Yeah.
From the start of the show, she was
Yeah.
like singing.
Yeah, it was always gonna happen.
Well, isn't that the thing? Is that
Hannah
is it
Montana.
is it Korea that they do the like pop star
Oh, the
camps
K-pop.
or whatever?
So I've heard.
Yeah.
Pop star camps?
It's like a camp, and like they send people there to like to become like groomed.
Yeah, they
pop
like scout
stars.
these kids at like 13, and then like, you know, they find them on TikTok or whatever, and then
Well, they do that in LA.
Yeah, I
too.
bet they
they do
probably
with
yeah.
those like
These, like-
influencer like
Yeah.
houses. Yeah.
Sounds like what they do with their gymnastics team.
Yeah, I know, it's
Like,
very
like,
much a-
they
Being
find-
Yeah.
groomed.
Yeah,
Any of that.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So basically, you guys are starting a house, and you're
Yeah,
gonna
we're gonna
groom
start.
people.
I mean, we got
to
the house
take
a big
over
baby,
your
yeah.
role.
Yeah, no.
No, yeah, it'd be so cool if we could find some like hot
Hot.
teenagers on TikTok to do this for us, because it's like,
That's what we want. Is
I
like,
mean, you
yeah.
already have your 15-year-old stage.
yeah,
Yeah, so just one more
stage
They'll
year.
be interns.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what they're graduating up to.
Yeah.
They get to be.
We always had this idea that we wanted to do a music
Yeah,
video where we like hire child actors to like play versions of us.
No, that was gonna be a show. We were gonna have
Oh,
them.
yeah.
We were gonna get a bunch of
Oh, no,
middle
it was-
schoolers
it
to
was
like
the-
open for us.
It was the rock camp
Oh yeah.
in Austin. There's
Yeah.
like a rock camp, you know what I mean? And it's like
Are we talking about like actual rocks?
yeah,
No.
no, like guitar, like
Oh,
music rock,
rock,
like
okay.
camp for
Yeah.
kids, and it's like middle schoolers, and they learn how to play in a rock band or whatever.
Yeah,
And, we
and
want,
so the idea was that we would like sponsor a summer of this, just one band, and they would only learn our songs.
Yeah.
And then,
they open.
at the end of the summer, they would open for us with the exact same like lineup of people as we had.
and
But
like dressed
ideally,
like,
they look the same.
Ideally, they
yeah.
look similar, and it's like everybody's like, oh my
Yeah.
This would be amazing.
And
yeah,
then
and they're
yeah.
singing
You guys
Speed
should do
Racer,
this.
but they're like
This is like
12
your-
years old.
Yeah.
This is your house band.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so.
So that we really wanted to make that happen, and it's still. I feel like we'll make it happen.
There's a lot of ideas that Samosa Jones, aka Anthony, our
Yeah.
manager, he's got a lot of work. To
Yeah,
do.
I
He's
mean, we
got
got
a
the
lot
pork
of work to
run.
do.
We got the pork run, which was going to be like a big deal that we
It's
were
like
going to
a-
do here.
A
We were
pork run?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a pig.
So we had this
5K.
idea, to do a 5K where everybody dresses up as pigs,
Yeah.
and then they do the 5K run, and they end up at Stubbs Barbecue where they eat pork,
Yeah.
and then
The money-
it all raises money for ham.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Health Alliance of Austin
Oh my
Musicians.
god, that's go okay.
It's so
Wow,
good.
And
that's-
so
that's
we
the
were
best
talking-
punchline ever.
And so we were actually.
Even though I know you're being dead serious. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh at your
no,
idea.
you
I
laugh at
think-
it. It's what's
No, we're
supposed to
laughing
happen.
with it.
Yeah.
We're laughing with
Okay.
it.
But
I
the-
I
We
want
were
you to
close.
know, I
We
mean-
were
We were
close.
very close. So it was going to happen last
had
year
the
during
route.
the
We
pandemic,
had-
and we were talking with some of the people that had organized like the Austin Marathon to like, because you have to get all this permitting and like
Yeah.
you have to like block off some streets, and we needed to end up at Stubbs Barbecue, and then we were going to play a show. That was like the whole thing.
Yeah. It's a genius idea.
It's
Yeah,
brilliant.
and
I want this to
Yeah,
happen.
so it was supposed to happen last year, and it didn't.
And then
But
Right.
but yeah, we're
well,
coming back.
I'm excited
And-
for this
and-
idea.
Yeah, sorry. Anthony's definitely convinced that we need to wait for the year of the pig too,
Yeah,
just
which
for
is
like
also,
the
like-
ultimate. I think it's 2028 or something like
Yeah.
that. So,
Oh.
yeah, I know, and I'm like, do we need to wait for that? Like, I love
don't
that.
really think we need
I
to
know.
wait that long.
I know. I'm like,
but-
it's
You
such a
just call
tiny.
it the year of the pig, regardless. People will still
we
think
could
it's
call
the
it year of the ham. It's like
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
different, but it's like our own
'Cause I'm sure-
astrology.
what is the year right now? Is it donkey year?
I don't know. If
I
it was
think it's
like
rat.
if the year
I
of
thought
the
it was
pig
rat.
was like next year or like 2
Yeah,
years.
Exactly.
it'd be very convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah,
28.
No, I know. I
Yeah,
was
we
like,
can't
that's
wait
such a
that long.
small idea to then be like the reason why we don't do
Yeah.
something.
And then we had another idea to do we were like doing research into like lesser known festivals, and we found this gap
Yeah,
that we
big
probably
gap.
shouldn't be talking about right now, but
Yeah.
we will.
No one
just
take this.
because I would like this to happen even if we don't do it. But we basically wanted to throw an international pickle festival and like fermented foods festival.
in Austin.
Yeah,
gotta be in it.
in Austin.
I make pickles.
He loves
Amazing.
pickles.
Yeah.
There's so many pickles.
And so it was kind of modeled after the ice cream festival, where like there would be all of these little booths, and you get like tickets to like try a bunch of the pickles. And we were gonna get Sandor Katz. Do you
Yeah.
know who that is?
no.
He's like a big deal
You've
in the
probably
world
heard of
of
him.
wild fermentation. And so we emailed him and we were like, "Hey, can you be the keynote speaker for our pickle festival?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's going to cost $2,500." And we were like,
Easy.
"That's not that bad for a keynote speaker."
Come on.
Who's like big in the pickle world.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
so yeah, we like when we have
This
these
guy, like,
ideas.
has a price. Did he
Yeah.
really have the price? Like,
had
yeah,
the
this
price.
is my
Yeah.
keynote. Really?
I mean, he's like a book author. Like I'm sure he does talks at
Yeah.
On fermentation?
yeah, on fermentation. and
It was
stuff.
gonna be
but
legendary.
so when we have ideas like this, we really like.
We
We go very far. We like they almost happen, and then
And then
they don't
Anthony
always
drops
come
the
to
ball.
fruition. Yeah, are we dropping it all on him? Yeah.
Damn.
No, no.
Yeah.
So a fermented food.
Love you, Samosa Jones.
But so we have a bunch of like big events like that we've been trying to do forever.
yeah.
And they'll happen eventually.
So we have a big event coming up. Some might call it a tour.
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Sorry to sidewind you from the
No, I know.
pickle.
Yeah,
I
we
know
need
you're
a second
stuck
to
on the pickle.
cool down because
Yeah, we get
the
really
pickle
excited
festival,
about that. You know,
it
it's
got
like-
pulled
yeah,
from
yeah,
beneath
yeah,
us.
Yeah, so it's
We were looking at
sore.
like a 45-foot pickle sculpture. You know what I mean? That
or an inflatable one.
basically seen from space.
Yeah.
We went in on that one.
Yeah,
that
I
one's
wanted
sore.
I wanted to get the Oscar Mayer like vehicle and repaint it as a pickle.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, no, that was gonna make waves.
Who likes?
Yeah.
Do you both equally love pickles?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, we're big fans.
What's your favorite kind of pickle?
Just like a regular dill pickle. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
Do you have any
special.
weird
Nothing
rituals
crazy.
with it?
I mean,
Or what do you
Bubby's is a really nice like brand of pickle
Yeah.
that does like a salt brine instead of a vinegar brine, and so it's like a different type of fermentation called like I think it's lactic fermentation, where it's like lactic acid instead of
The vinegar.
whatever like
Yeah.
the acid is in vinegar, acetic acid or something. I don't know. I really don't know much about vinegar, but it's like a completely different type of fermentation, so it has to be refrigerated. You can't like pasteurize it and then store it at room temp.
You should get this guy.
Where do
if
you
you
get
can't
it?
get the other guy, you should get this guy.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean I think that's
Butch
Butch
Talton.
Talton.
this is the kind of shit we need. Is like basically just. I think it would be such an amazing festival. It could happen at
This
Auditorium
was-
Shores.
This was at the Home Depot, so I feel like you guys.
Oh, is that the Home Depot in Charlestown? Yeah,
I mean,
I mean he is clearly magic.
Oh, he grew that at a Home Depot. Wow.
at the Home Depot in Charleston.
Honestly, 43 inches.
the cucumber planter.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I mean, we're
Definitely
playing.
got to get him there.
We're
Wanna
playing a
hire
show in Austin this weekend, and we got some
Yeah.
other stuff, but it just doesn't.
I mean,
really
now it feels
compare.
like completely.
It's right. It's
Yeah, it
so
feels like a
underwhelming.
complete letdown.
I'm so sad. I'm glad we're retiring on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Thank God that we had the foresight.
Yeah. But yeah, we're a real talk. The shows this weekend are going to be really amazing. Very excited.
Can you
We've
give
got
people
like
a sneak peek,
can we
Yeah.
give people a sneak peek?
or like
I
what
mean-
what to expect? That's going to be different from.
Trying to think. I mean, these shows we are like we've had so much time to refine the music over the last like year, just sort of like being in the studio, and so we've had like our live setup there, and have just been sort of like very detailed, like listening through all of the songs and how we perform them live, and we've been playing these house parties in LA every weekend for the last like 2 months, trying to like road test all of that, and so I would like to think that like our musical standards go up every show, and I feel like this one,
Yeah.
I feel like the most prepared for this. So I'm hoping that from like a technical musical standpoint, it will be like a standout show. And then we have like, you know, all of our usual bag of like secret surprises that we're not allowed to talk about.
Mhm,
But
yeah, contractually.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
where we draw the line.
yeah, that's
but
where we
there,
draw the line.
but you know, I
There's
think
a costume contest as
costume
always.
contest. A lot of our friends are going to be there, so it's
Mhm.
going to be like we have some friends coming in from
Yeah, we're
LA, from Detroit. Like people are kind of coming in. So I think that the dance floor is going to be really good.
yeah.
I think it's going to be really good because there's a
Yeah.
lot of people that we love that we've been playing to, and like we're playing with the 10-piece band. I think.
Yeah, 10-piece band.
10-piece band, which
What does
is
that make? Yeah. That
so
comprise
it's
of?
So it's us, and then we got
Jeff Olson on
on drums, Zach Yanez on percussion. We have
Sam's not doing it, right? Sam's on tour.
Sam unfortunately can't make it our usual basis, but Alex Riegelman from Big Bill's filling in.
Oh, Alex.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And
Oh.
then
I didn't even know he played bass, and then I saw that they changed the lineup. Big Bill's another band, honestly, that we love.
super amazing.
We
band.
played their like
Um,
prom back when we first got started,
Yeah,
and it was
which was a legendary
it was
party.
legendary. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just like true, amazing, Austin legends, and they threw this punk rock prom,
Mhm.
and for God knows what reason, booked us to play.
Yeah, I think we were paid $30.
Yeah,
great.
it was
Yeah,
37. It was Swan
37
Dive.
bucks, yeah.
It wasn't. That wasn't Big Bill's fault. I think that was.
Are we
was-
throwing Swan Dive under the
I'm
bus?
throwing Swan Dive under. Yeah, I think that was a Swan Dive thing. But anyways, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, it was just a bunch of punk rock bands and then Capyac, and I was
Yeah.
like, why are we doing this? Like, but
I mean, because we were kind of punk back then.
yeah, no, we're not cool anymore. We're super just like, what are we?
Yeah, I don't know. Passe.
Yeah, we're passe. We're over. That's why we're selling the band.
Yeah, that's
To
why
the
we're selling
highest
the
bidder.
band to the highest bidder.
Starting bid $1, or are you going
ideally
up?
like a disgusting venture capitalist, you know. Like,
Yeah.
because if it's gonna go down, I want it to go down in like a blaze of glory, right?
It should be just beautifully like terrible.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, so we're talking about the members in the band. We got the bass player.
Yeah, we didn't even get through the whole band. So we got Marshall Jackson Lowry on saxophone.
Papa Mongoose.
I think we have Wyatt playing trumpet this time
Yeah, we do.
around. We have Cicely,
Fully Love.
Olaf, Leggy Bean on vocals.
Classic. That's our
dream team.
That's our dream team vocal.
Yeah, since
group.
the Sky Party.
Yeah.
Am I forgetting anyone?
I think we got
I think that's the whole group.
So what advice would you give someone too, like that's dressing up? Like, do you have any pointers for
Ooh,
them?
yeah.
Miss. Will you do some sort of like spatial thing, like space sound?
Yeah, like
The world becomes itself.
can you put reverb on this later?
Yeah. Capyac. 20th and 21st. You, within the envelope of time, receiving signals from a world's unknown. And then, shoo, you land at the gate of Capyac. And what do you see? Not people. Sticks in the sand of time.
Yeah.
So it's something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still working on the fine details.
Yeah.
We're supposed to put out a press announcement. Honestly, Anthony's been on our ass about this.
There is a costume contest, so it is going to be fiercely competitive.
Yeah, there's no singular theme. We're keeping it open because
Oh, you're gonna let it just be open?
we're
then?
riding it
There's no theme.
because honestly, it's
The theme limits people's true potential. you
well,
know?
and I will say that it's also hot, and that makes I think when you have a theme for the costume, it can be hard to incorporate a summer show within that theme. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's just my feeling.
Yeah. I mean, it limits your options.
Yeah.
Because you have to be very selective in the garments that you choose.
Exactly.
You can't just pile until like it looks good. You know, you have to like start
You have to
from
have
square
choice
one.
pieces.
Yeah. So
Keeping
it's
it
going to
open.
be interesting to see what people bring. We were actually not judging the costume contest.
sneaky
Oh,
Greek.
you're not.
We got the sneaky
It's
Greek.
the sneaky Greek.
Yeah.
The
Nico.
sneaky Greek.
Yeah,
Yeah,
our
Nico.
friend Nico.
He's a famed spotlight
Operator, spotlight operator.
also just like 3D audio engineer, kind
Yeah.
of scientist wizard.
Yeah, DSP programmer.
Famously lives in Reno.
Yeah. So he'll be judging it with a panel or just solo?
I think he's got a panel.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can't just judge it alone. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We're gonna and this time we're not accepting bribes.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Is that why you guys got fired from being judges then?
Well,
You
so
were
my
caught taking bribes.
well, I mean, we can't say that legally.
Okay. Oh,
but
legally.
What I can say is that my sister has actually been doing it a couple of years
Mm-hmm.
in the past, and we've learned costume contests are surprisingly complicated.
Yeah.
It's not just a like, cool, let's do this fun idea. Here's a prize. Great, you do it.
I think it's specifically doing it in the middle of a concert that
With, like-
presents a lot of logistical
Oh, y'all do that during the
complications.
middle of it, not like the beginning.
It's
of
like the
ad.
beginning, but then you got to find the winner.
Yeah, you have to
Ooh.
find these people
And-
who are in a crowd of like 1,000
and
people.
they're not answering their phones.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Ah.
it just becomes this whole thing, and it always becomes a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're getting better at it every time, but yeah.
So
There are
yeah,
always people. There's always one person that's like pissed they didn't win.
yeah.
Like this has happened every time we've had a costume contest. I want to say
Yeah, we're
there's,
making
like,
enemies. It's
there's
probably,
someone who's like you know
Yeah.
sitting on the curb after the show like crying.
Yeah, well, there's also been
I'm
some
like-
really bad costumes that
Yeah.
won.
Yeah.
Like we're not totally,
Which isn't our fault, you know.
It's my
like the
sister's
person
fault.
dressed
Yeah,
up
so we
like a
can-
pickle.
Did
I
that
mean,
person
that-
win one year?
I mean, I will say that if you do dress up like a pickle,
I mean, you get points in my book.
yeah,
But
you get points in our book.
I think we need to come up with like a rubric for judging it. So you get like, there's like 5 points awarded for uniqueness. There's 5 points awarded for like execution.
Yep.
There's, you know, like how there are different categories. So someone can really excel in like
Smell.
the execution of a like very basic costume, but they
Yeah.
like did it really well.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, that would be judged differently.
Yeah.
than a very unique costume that was maybe just sort of like thrown together, but like is a genius idea.
It's super subjective
Yeah.
and unfair.
I
The
think you
costume
need those
contest, for
categories.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just judged a spray paint battle.
Oh, okay.
And that was very difficult because, like you said, there's two people, and you're like, thank God we had criteria: overall design,
Yeah.
creativity, and completion.
Yeah.
Ooh,
you
completion's
got
a good one.
So you got to be like, ooh, that one didn't look as complete.
Yeah.
That one looks like complete.
Mm-hmm.
So it helped just to like narrow it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm usually just try to, whoever's put the bribe in, then I'm like, cool, you win.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like that's why I'm not judging
Yeah.
anymore. Like those days have sailed.
Yeah.
They don't let me do it anymore.
We're hoping. I hope one day our costume contest, like, we could be playing like Coachella one year, and we have a costume contest there,
it's
and
like
the prize is like $10,000.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and like a
Ridiculous.
gold, like a real gold bar.
Like you win a car.
Yeah, you win a car. Yeah, we're gonna get there. Yeah, see, these are good ideas. That's a good
great.
idea.
I'll
Like,
offer up my car for maybe like in a couple years when I'm like ready to get
Yeah.
rid of it. It should
you're
be the
not ready
costume.
now because it's
No,
just
I'm
been
not ready.
sitting there for a while. It's
Yeah.
just in our driveway.
No, yeah, I need to fix some
okay,
things.
well,
but
it could get out
gonna
of
get
there.
it fixed up, and then
We could have more room in this. It's all right. We'll figure it out. We'll get to it.
So you got a show Friday, and not just one show, but two shows.
Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday.
So 2 costume contests to accept
Yeah.
bribes at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if it's like everybody shows up the first day and then the next day there's like 15 people there. you
yeah,
know what
we'll
I mean?
see. It'll
And
be
it's just
interesting.
like, no, I think it's gonna be good. Everything's looking good. We did 2 days kind of because we hadn't played in so long and we were like,
yeah,
fuck it, let's do 2 days.
Yeah.
And it's also just as far as like the logistics of like setting up a 10-piece band. It's like a 2-hour sound check, and then you
goodness.
you play the show, and just to be able to kind of leave everything. Well, I guess we won't really be able to leave it
Yeah.
totally, but to kind of
we should
be able
definitely
to.
not broadcast right now that we're leaving. All
Yeah.
of our equipment at Empire.
And then the
overnight.
door's going to be unlocked, and there's actually like we'll put lights all the way to the stuff,
Yeah,
and
we'll keep it lit up so that you know.
so it just helps you out because
Yeah.
you can't be breaking your ankle or whatever.
But yeah, it'll be nice to like be with this band that we haven't really played a show with in forever, and since like January last year, I guess.
Oh my
No,
goodness.
we played that drive-in.
We played the drive-in, but that wasn't everybody.
Yeah, you're right.
That wasn't as big of a deal. And we did a bunch of rehearsals back in April for these live recordings. And we're basically like bringing that same band back and rehearsing again all this week. And I think it'll just be like cool to play more than one show with them,
Yeah.
basically. Because in the past we've like done all of this work for basically one show where we fly in like 2 weeks early to rehearse like,
All for one
Yeah,
night. Now we get
all
a
for one
second
night.
chance.
Now we
Basically,
get-
we get a second chance.
yeah, that's what it's all about.
You know.
So how can people find you guys?
Um,
And you're at, who is there one of y'all that's like more active on a specific like platform? Like I've noticed your Twitter. I didn't know. I'm like, whose mind is this coming
Twitter's
from?
like a lot of us. Like
Yeah.
pretty much everyone in the band has access to the
And a
Twitter.
bunch of people not in the band.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
yeah.
We got a
lot
little-
of our friends have. the
I think
Twitter
what happened
password.
is we like every once in a blue moon we'll like drink a little bit too much and then it's just like who wants our Twitter password?
Yeah. Literally, that's how it goes. So like 15 to 20 people have the Twitter
but that's a guess. That's a
yeah.
guess.
No, it could have spread it.
and
Because
that-
I think we tell them like give this to anyone
Yeah.
who wants.
Yeah,
it.
because I think there was just like a decision that was made early on that like there's too many social media platforms and
Yeah.
There's
we
so many.
don't want to do that.
No, it's
and
way
so
too
it
much
was just
work.
like cool, we're just gonna do this one thing. And I don't know why Anthony just kind of let us like roll with it.
I mean, he gets it.
He gets it, and then it would just now we're too far. We're
Yeah,
too far
we can't
into
come
where
back.
we can't come back.
Yeah. So the Twitter's great. It's chugging along.
Instagram is a little bit of a collaborative thing.
yeah.
And I think we go through like active cycles, and we've been pretty off like non-active just since like all the pandemic stuff. Is like we're
Yeah.
just kind of switching gears, and hopefully within the next year or so, as we get like more concise tour dates, then
I
we'll
mean,
get
we've been posting like every day on Instagram. for
yeah,
the past,
yeah.
like,
I guess more I'm talking about like the behind the scenes stuff,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah, yeah.
us in the studio, us like playing shows, like
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be fun to get back into that zone because that was always really a treat.
Yeah.
I think.
but there just hasn't been much to show. It's like,
Yeah, what do you want to see? Like us cooking, pasta,
yeah.
which we
Yes.
tried. We tried that.
Yeah, we did try doing a cooking show
Yeah.
for a bit.
I'm essentially running our TikTok, but I haven't done anything yet.
Yeah.
But I'm about to do something. So you guys all
Something
just
big.
check it out.
Yeah.
Some brewing. TikTok's a whole different animal.
I
I
know.
went to this thing in Houston and I was sitting across from Gary V's like TikTok people. Am I allowed to say that?
I don't know. He probably has a team.
Yeah, but this guy actually like produces, like records all of his content. And he's like
Yeah, we need one of
Literally-
those because
literally like his job is TikTok,
Yeah.
which I thought was wild.
Yeah.
He's like, this is
Yeah.
to produce, and then another
Probably
girl.
like 16 years old.
He's, I mean, yeah, I don't probably.
Yeah.
But they were there, and
Yeah.
it was like he was there with another girl who was on that Gary V team, and she was there covering like shoes, like sneakers, and like
Yeah.
kind of that culture. It was just wild, and they had never met before, but they'd been on calls before. But I'm like, but y'all are part of his TikTok team.
Well, yeah, we need one of those. Where do we get one?
Yeah, if anyone's out there wants
We'll
to
put
be
an
our
ad up
team.
on Craigslist. Like teenagers
Yeah.
are hanging out on Craigslist still,
Yeah,
right?
teenagers are cruising the Craigie.
Yeah.
Cruising Craigie.
I know I was. I spent like way more time on Craigslist than Facebook as a teenager.
Did you just
Oh,
finding
yeah.
random things
Oh yeah.
or people?
No, not finding people. Really, you're not allowed to
I
trade
don't know if you
people
had
on
some
Craigslist.
misconnection, some misconnections, or tried to put
Yeah,
the band on there
Misconnections
too.
was good, but they got rid of it, which was a bummer.
I feel like it was all just jokes.
No, I think there were some real
Like creepers.
no, not even creepers, just like people who like saw a beautiful person at like the grocery store and like
Yeah.
wanted to find them again.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do.
We should go and look through that. Like some old stories.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Some misconnections.
It'd be cool if like maybe this is what we do when we sell the band is like we try to reunite Craigslist misconnections people.
Oh, like you and I are kind of like
yeah, we have like a
detectives?
reality TV show where we do that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that would be pretty fun.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
I think
You
we'd be
do that
good
for
at
your
it.
shows.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh yeah, like at every show we bring together like two strangers and it's
Yeah.
like a really emotional moment.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
We almost did speed dating once. That was an idea.
What if you did
Yeah,
have
that
that,
was
like
just, like,
misconnections from your
logistically.
show, like people that had met and then like didn't
Yeah. That'd
be
connect?
fun.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I saw you dressed as that jellyfish,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I never got to like come up and
Yeah.
tell
Oh,
you
that
that,
party
I
was-
really
that
liked
was a
your
good party.
tentacles.
Yeah.
Really liked your tentacles. Yeah.
I had thoughts about your tentacles.
For months.
So
and
we're,
now.
so we're doing the 20th and 21st in Austin, and then we do Denver the next week.
Mhm.
And then we take a week off. We're doing San Francisco. We do a festival, same but different.
Mhm.
That's the 9th and the 10th, which is a sweet festival. If anybody
Yeah.
wants to come join, us.
Very very fun
It's
festival.
like some friends. It's at this spot that I think was built as like an Olympic. It was like an Olympic site when the LA Olympics happened.
Oh really? I didn't know
80s or
that.
90s or something. It was like the water sports section. They built this like man-made lake.
Yeah, very
But
cool.
Super
spot.
cool. Up in these hills, they do a camping festival. And then the next show is Morro Bay.
Yeah, we're doing them in
that
Morro
what it is?
Bay. Uh-huh.
Morro Bay. And then we're off for a while. We might do some
Yeah.
stuff in Tijuana, maybe Ensenada.
Yeah, Tijuana's in the
Oh,
works.
wow.
Yeah. And then we're doing
Mexico
New York.
City is in the works.
Oh, that'll be
New
awesome.
York's on the 13th.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get back in the swing of it as best as, kind of as we can.
Yeah.
And then hopefully next year, hit it.
So
ground
is there
running.
anything else you want to tell the folks?
I don't know.
Oh, we got a
Watch it.
vinyl that you can pre-order.
Yeah.
That should be done.
Yeah, vinyl's like nearing the end of production, so
Yeah. The
get-
test
get
pressing
the
is-
pre-orders in.
Is this the one that's coming in September?
Yes.
Okay.
We
Anthony did tell me that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think we're going to do a giveaway
Yeah.
for some tickets and one of those vinyls.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you guys are going to sign.
The
when it
record's
comes
going to be
out.
very cool. Where I'm like so excited about
Yeah.
like the whole presentation of it all. And we're only making 250, so limited
You're gonna
ish
get one.
runs. Yeah.
Before it goes out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's always really fun to have the like physical thing. In your hand.
Absolutely.
So I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
No, I can't think
we
of
have a
anything.
Christmas song coming up.
Yeah.
Called "Christmas Is a Day." So
Yep.
just be mindful of that as
Yeah.
Christmas comes closer. That's probably gonna, honestly, like we're gonna be so big after that.
Yeah.
After
Like,
Christmas is a
oh
day.
my
Yeah.
god! Like because bands put out their Christmas album, it's like game over.
Yeah, it's over. Like
And so
that's the only thing Elvis is known for.
What's
really.
like Gundam Style? What's that song?
Gangnam Style?
Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
Christmas
If it-
is a day.
Well, it's like a different flavor, but it's essentially that same amount of fame. That's what we're trying
Yeah.
for, whether we get it or not.
Yeah.
Please let me know so that way I can.
Yeah. Oh,
promote
you'll
it,
know.
and I
You'll
will-
know.
Yeah,
You're
we won't even have to tell
we
you,
don't
like,
have to
it'll
tell
be
you.
everywhere.
Everyone's gonna know.
That's when you sell the band. Strike while they're hot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Actually,
Yeah,
that's
buy low,
that's actually
sell
really
high.
good. Did you hear that?
Yeah. No, that's a
Financial
good idea.
advice?
Yeah.
You might get a little cut.
Watch out, Anthony.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Can't wait for your show and you to come out of retirement.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if it happens, I don't
if
know.
it happens, I mean, it's really a crapshoot at this point.
Yeah.
It's anyone's guess.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank y'all
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see y'all next week.
Woo!
Woo woo.